What is going on, my beautiful people? In today's video, I'm going to be documenting my process in creating my first ever homemade deer mineral, what I got, why I got it, and how exactly affordable is it to make this much deer mineral. So make sure you guys stay to the end of this video. Hopefully you'll learn something. Thanks for watching. So a couple of weeks ago, I had the inclination to make my own homemade deer mineral, and I wanted to try it out and see if I would be able to attract any deer. It took me a while to gather my supplies and do the research that I needed in order to figure out what exactly it is that these deer need and why they need it. For those of you that are wondering, I'm gonna make a more in-depth video about it, but essentially during the spring and summer, the new vegetation has a lot of water in it. So most deer are getting their water that they need from the plants and the forage that's growing and that they're eating. Because the forage during the spring and the summer has so much water in it, and the deer are either developing antlers, a lot of them are lactating, or just growing in general, the deer become deficient in all the minerals because the water saturation of the plants, they water themselves out, they're using these minerals for other things. So that's why deer crave salt, because it helps them store water. And in that craving of salt, those minerals are generally mixed in. So now with the background and knowing why the deer are coming into these mineral and salt areas, what kind of minerals and salts do these deer need, and where do we find them? So that's where, let's come on to the computer, and I did a quick Google and found a lot of different resources as far as what people recommend for deer. I did a lot of research on this, and a lot of the ingredients were the same. So let's go take a look at my shed, and I'll show you exactly what we got, and I'm gonna show you how we're gonna mix it up. In the research I did, there was a couple key ingredients that was common amongst all the different videos that I watched. Those common ingredients you're gonna find here, and then I'll show you what some of the difference or variation was as well. So the first thing that everyone had was some sort of cattle or general purpose mineral. This one's the Purina brand. Not sponsored, not anything like that. This is just what I was able to find. I have another general purpose for cattle, sheep, and goats. I have fine stock salt, and then I have a trace mineral salt. I'm not going to go into exactly what is in each of these minerals in this video. If you want to know what's in each of these minerals and what those minerals do for the deer, make sure that you leave a like and drop a comment below that that's something you would be interested in, and I'll be more than happy to make that video. But that would just make this video way too long. So for all of these different products, it was actually fairly cheap when you look at it compared to big box store brands. The cattle mineral was $26.99. The general purpose mineral was $18.99. The trace mineral salt was $8.49, and the stock salt was $7.29. Now, I also bought some other ingredients that we'll go over in a minute, but overall, I only spent $68.76 on all of this stuff that you see here before you. Now, this is 200 pounds equivalently of mineral. When you look at that, it's relatively cheap compared to the fact that you're going to pay for deer cane, another top contender, $6.99 for 6.5 pounds. Trophy rock, if you buy the crunched up rocks, it's a 30-pound bag, and it's roughly $35 to $40. The Deer Cane Black Magic is $13.70 for 4.5 pounds. Lucky Buck is around $20 for 20 pounds, and the Big and J's brand is 4.5 pounds for about $10. When you do the math on that, the comparison isn't even there, that the cattle mineral and building it this way is so much cheaper than what these big box stores are selling for the same exact thing. This might even be a higher concentration of the minerals once everything is said and done. But that led me to my next question of, well, will this bring in deer just as effectively as the other ones did? That's what we're going to find out in today's video, and hopefully we'll have some great results. So in order to make this mineral, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 1 part cattle mineral, 1 part general mineral, 1 part trace mineral salt, and 1 part stock salt. And I think this is just regular salt. This doesn't have any mineral in it, whereas all the other ones do. I'm also then going to be adding in half a container of old-fashioned oats. There's a lot of people that put some sort of protein or oats in their deer mineral. You have to be careful with that because it can sour, so I'm only going to use probably half a container of these. But this has some fiber, it has protein, it has saturated fat, it has 5 grams of protein, so not a whole lot, but it's got a lot of stuff that deer need, and so I feel like if we put some of that in there, the deer are going to come to it. And then as far as attraction, because a lot of the mineral can be rather bitter, and your goal is to attract the deer in with the salt, but salt's not very potent, and so the deer aren't really going to smell it. So they recommend that you put some sort of artificial sweetener in there for the deer. For this example, we're going to use cherry Kool-Aid, and we're going to mix one little top cap of this for every 1 part that we do of the other minerals. So let's get to mixing. So for our measuring device, I have it's a protein blender. It runs up to 16 ounces. So we're just going to do a scoop of each of these, and we'll see how much mineral that makes. So 1 part cattle mineral, 1 part general purpose mineral, 1 part stock salt, 1 part trace mineral salt. Next up, we're going to sprinkle in a little bit of oats here. And next up, we're going to be doing some Kool-Aid here. We're going to take and just makes 1 quart. I'm going to fill it up to about halfway of this lid for now. Ooh, that smells good. That makes me want some Kool-Aid. But we're going to dump that in. So now what we're going to do is we're going to repeat this process. I'm going to do it in layers. That way when I mix it, it'll be a little easier to mix. But I'm going to do it until I have about half a 5-gallon bucket. It looks like it's going to take us 1 to 2 more rotations. And then we'll be ready to go put this stuff out. Alright, so we got our mineral out, and as you can see, we got pretty good coverage with that 10 pounds. I covered this whole little embankment right here that was pretty wet and muddy. You can see where they've eaten out this hole right here where we typically will put a trophy rock or something like that. We have that done, and I covered some of those sticks over there. That way they have a little bit more to work through. But this is where we're at. I moved my trail camera from this tree right here back to this tree right here. That way we get a little bit of a closer view, and we might even can pick up this licking branch some. But I'm pretty excited with the way this turned out. Now we just got to see what comes into it. So I'll see you back in 2 weeks. Alright, so the last time we were here was when I put out my first ever homemade mineral. And as you can tell, there's not very much left. There's still some wet going on here on the ground. But you can see all the tracks. We got our trail camera right here. And y'all, I have been patiently awaiting this 2-week mark. I don't know what it is, but having made my own mineral, it made me really, really excited. We got 1,422 photos. Still at 71% battery. Y'all, I'm so excited to go through these and see what we had come in. Let's change out this trail camera. And you know we're going to top off this spot. And actually, we're going to put something else. We're going to test it out. I'll give you a little sneak peek because this video is going to go up prior to that video. But we have, of course, my 5-gallon bucket of my secret goodness. We're going to put this out as well, and we're going to face it off head to head against probably the most commonly used mineral. So make sure you subscribe and turn on bell notifications. That way you don't miss when that video goes up, because it'll be in probably about the time bow season starts for everyone actually. So I'm excited for that video. I'm excited to see if this mineral, because we know it's cheaper, so we'll be able to see if it's just as effective. All right, everybody, so we checked the trail camera over the past 2 weeks of this mineral that I've concocted, and we had some pretty interesting results. So over the course of the 2 weeks, we actually had right around 1,500 pictures in this area, which was a decent amount. We had a bunch of does, with their baby fawns, and we also had a bunch of bucks that actually came in, and this was the first time that I was getting pictures of a lot of these deer. And we actually have one that might be a shooter. He looks a little young, so I'll probably let him walk, but I'm trying to tell if it's a deer from the past or not. But overall, the results are there. You know, this mineral is working, and I'm excited because, as you know, as we talked about earlier in the video, it's a lot cheaper, and it's, to me, more satisfying having a mineral that you've made and you did the research and you put together, other than just buying one at a big box store. So I really liked that. And in the future, we're going to compare it to these other big box store brands and see if it comes out on top. So make sure you subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment below if that's something you want to see and what you want to see me put it up against to see if it works. So I appreciate every one of you for spending your time with me. Hope you enjoyed these pictures that we've popped up throughout the video. And thank you so much for watching. Always remember, when nature calls or God calls, you better answer. Peace.